stardust, so shine.
Peace and blessings, family, and welcome to Labors of Love Podcast, the Fatherhood Series. We are here to inspire, uplift, and enlighten. Each episode, we will be hearing from fathers sharing their perspectives and experiences on all aspects of the fatherhood journey. This evening, I have the privilege of speaking with Remidy Shareef. Raheem is a father and grassroots organizer committed to making a difference in the community. As the Director of Outreach for Ice the Beef, a New Haven, Connecticut-based anti-gun violence organization, Remidy has been on the front line advocating for our youth both locally and nationally. Thank you for joining us this evening. Welcome. Peace and blessings, family. I am so grateful to have the opportunity to speak with Remidy. This whole fatherhood series has been amazing, and I'm grateful that we could reconnect. So we're going to jump right into this conversation in reference to fatherhood. So what was your messaging or your exposure to what pregnancy and childbirth and parent? Well, yeah, that. Prior to becoming a father?
Well, first, let me say peace and blessings to you, and thank you for having me on. I'm honored to be able to be here and sit and and talk with you and your listeners about this. I think this is very important. Um, it's like almost indescribable how important it is, right? When we talk about operating as a family unit, you know what I mean? The mothers, fathers, we got to operate together and to make a whole. Um, prior to the birth of my children, I don't remember having too many conversations about pregnancy, to be quite honest.
Mm-hmm.
About pregnancy, about children. I was just being raised, in the Nation of Islam, and being raised as a Muslim, coming into the Imam Wafdi Muhammad way of thinking, in dealing with Islam. We was very like, you just don't have kids
Right.
until you're married type of thing. And there wasn't really too many discussions about that. I mean, I'm the youngest of seven, excuse me. I'm the youngest of seven.
Mm.
So, I've seen, my older siblings have kids, and, I was very much a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So for my nieces and nephews, but to like have like strategic, concrete discussions, nah, I didn't.
Yeah. And I find that that's the common, response because male or female, like there's not really anything given or on board coming up. It really is that message like, don't get pregnant. Like basically that's kind of it. And then once you find yourself in that space, whether, you're older in life or what have you, you're learning then or taking classes or reading books or what have you. So I think just the emphasis on the importance of having these conversations earlier, making it something that we're all familiar with to an extent so that we know kind of how to utilize this information to build a strong community. Because there's
Yes.
no reason, male, female, we all need to understand kind of how this works. So I appreciate that. As far as once you had an awareness that you were going to be a father, were there things that were available at that time? Like, did you have to take childbirth classes? Were there anything that kind of involved the father in the experience, or was it kind of just like, you're supporting her through the experience?
Yo, honestly, it was pretty much supporting her through the experience. And I didn't know about, taking childbirth classes. I did go to the like the prenatal visits, the doctor visits and stuff like that. I went to, those type of things. And at a lot of those visits and stuff like that, for the most part, we're quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, I asked questions when I heard certain things because I wanted to know certain things. Mainly the thing that we want to know as fathers is, are they healthy?
Right.
Child and the mother. Are they healthy? They good. What they need, boom, boom, boom. That's it. All right. There ain't too much else to, to talk about, though there's a ton to talk about. But
Right.
we didn't know, I didn't know, I should say, some of those different things. I have very strong support system. But I come from such a close knit village that there were things that I knew to do. It wasn't like, like foreign. Like I had nieces and nephews that were, that I watched a lot. 'Cause my sisters or, my brothers and them, they, doing their thing or whatever.
Mhm.
And at that time of my first children, to be quite honest too, I was somewhat sort of broken, um, dealing with life and a lot of things like that. So it was a struggle, but it wasn't a struggle to whereas like a blind struggle. It
Okay.
was a struggle like I'm fighting and I'm gonna continue to fight to make this thing right.
Oof. And I appreciate that. And just from that perspective, and even using the term broken, I definitely get it. Just life experiences in general can be challenging and really, shaping and molding us into who we're becoming. Did that play a role in the emotional aspect of it? Going through this process and the vulnerability piece of, new life coming into the world. Um, did did that have any impact on that perspective of it?
Yeah, for sure. I wasn't ready.
Okay.
I wasn't ready, man. I was young. I forget exactly how old I was. I try not to deal with age because I don't want to feel none of it. I feel like I'm infinite, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so I can't remember how young I was, but I was young when I had my first child,
Yeah.
and going through those life experiences, and I dealt with things that were very emotionally charged.
Mhm.
Like especially death was one of the things that really, you know, pushed me to the streets. Dealing with a lot of death and family and things made me angry and just put me, to the street because I got a very loving village. I
Yeah.
didn't have to sell crack. I
Mhm.
didn't have to be out in the street like some of these families can't eat this, that, and the third. I was just a very hurt, angry, broken young man,
Yeah.
and I stopped caring. And you know, having my first child, it made me care more. It
Mm.
made me care more, and it made me want to do a lot of things differently. Um, I went to jail before I had my first son, and once I found that out when I came out, I said, "Yo, I'm not going back. I'm not going back." And trying to, help his mother go go through, some of the things, just living in our communities and the conditions that we're in. Um, a lot of people look at the physical things that are happening, but the mental and emotional trauma and these things is what really, really affects us to the core.
Indeed.
And our children, even though at that point when they're still in the womb, they feel those
Correct.
traumas.
Absolutely.
They have to deal with those traumas as well.
Mm.
And us having, children as young as we be, sometimes having children, we're not aware of some of these things.
You are so right about that. And just the understanding of generational trauma and the fact that even in the current times, we're constantly bombarded. Micro traumas, macro traumas, when you turn on the news, when you walk down the street, even if it's not directly impacting us, you're absolutely right. We absorb it. And it's something that we got to process,
Yeah.
which means the womb is impacted as well. So I
Yes.
appreciate you, bringing that up, and also your awareness of where you were in your development at that time. So, with that experience, what would you kind of share with someone, another father, as far as for his ability to kind of be present, or just what you may have done differently, or what you learned from your own experiences about just kind of putting yourself in the mindset of what's necessary and needed for fatherhood?
Um, what's ultimately uh, necessary for us to be successful at fatherhood, right? Because when we start having children, we're building a community, and that's what life is truly about: is giving honor and praise and representing the Most High. And after that is building community and realizing that directly or indirectly, you're going to affect community life. And your child's going to be in and part of that community. What type of example that child is going to be? What type of example? Because everything in life is a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Like we're a human family.
Mm-hmm.
So as a father, supposed to be the protector, the provider, all of these things, right? Living in the conditions of today with so much brokenness, so much separation. Um, I would tell a father the first, because no matter what, if you was raised, no matter what, if you was raised in America, you've dealt with trauma.
Yes.
So identify that first within yourself. It starts with self. You can't be what you're supposed to be for that child or that queen if you're not right with yourself. So look in the mirror, identify these things, these traumas in yourself that you need to correct. Be honest, totally honest with yourself. If you're not ready, then say you're not ready. Don't act like you are ready. You know you're not ready. Admit that you're not ready so then you can start getting ready.
Yes.
Be totally honest with yourself.
Mm.
That's how we start healing and start to repair ourselves. Then once we deal with ourselves, whether you're with the mother or not with the mother, if there's trauma there, well, there is trauma there. But
Yeah.
if there's not a level of a high level of respect,
Yes.
a high level of communication, then you
Mm-hmm.
need to repair that with that queen. Like, I'm speaking from the universal sense of knowledge, where we were taught that the path to paradise is placed at the feet of the mother.
Mm.
If you look in any civilization throughout history, every civilization that thrived and had success, the women and the children thrived.
Yes.
When you don't find a civilization where the woman and the child are thriving, then you find a civilization that is ultimate destruction.
Absolutely.
Um, we have to disconnect from being raised by society and letting society dictate how we deal with each other or tell us who we are. Um, it's a lot of work, man. It took me a lot of work. It took me a lot of reflection.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't still, uh, and I say this to I'm to a lot of these men and young men and older men. If you don't know, to
Mm-hmm.
this day, I don't have the best relationship with my to my first children's mother. I don't, and that saddens me. But I can honestly say I know I've done everything up to date. Not at the beginning, not no saint. I made my mistakes. But to this date, I've done everything possible to try to make that right,
Mm.
just so we can communicate, be on the same page, and raise our children to be the best that they can be. Because once we have children, it's not about us no more.
It's not.
It's not about us no more.
Right.
You have someone, and and back to what you asked me, almost the first time, but did I have any, like, understanding or talks about pregnancy and this, that, and the third things?
Mm-hmm.
Going back to that, definitely no, because now it's been plenty of times where I'd be like, woo, I wish they would have told me it was like this. Man, I like to dress.
Yeah.
I like to dress, man. It's been the first time in like 7 years that I brought me a fresh pair of Timbs. Just brought me a fresh
Mm.
pair because your kids.
Yes, they come first.
Your kids, they come first. I can't go out and
Mhm.
buy the leather coats and stuff like we used to and this, that, and the third because, yo, for real. And so I would tell men to really look themselves in the mirror, man, and reflect that if you were given, so some people don't agree with different scriptures that people
Mhm.
follow, whether you believe it or not. Understand the dynamic of this. When we return from which we came,
Mhm.
the man has to answer for the state of his family.
Mm.
He doesn't only answer for himself and what he did and how he led and whatever, whatever. He has to answer for the state
Mm.
of his family. You have to answer for the direction, man, that you led that woman, that queen.
Yeah.
Because the Most High made you to lead.
Mhm.
Didn't make you better. Didn't make us better. Just made us to lead. We have to answer for these things for our children. The mother only has to answer for herself.
Mm.
The children are gonna have to answer for themselves once they get to a certain age.
Mhm.
But the man has to answer for the entirety of the family to the creator of all existence.
Wow.
So that's why we are was given the job of being the lead.
Mhm.
When you put things in the natural order of life, what happens if somebody loses their rib? Your body will collapse.
Right.
And the woman is said to be the rib of the man.
Mhm.
Without her, your body collapse. So we're not better. We have to let our egos go. We have to crush all these stereotypes. We're not better. We have different roles, and those roles don't work without each other.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes, I mean, I truly respect your perspective, especially the statement in reference to personal growth and development. Like, doing the work on yourself, that self-reflection, it is ongoing. It doesn't stop.
right,
So whether you're listening to this and you're 18 or if you're 80, like it's
yeah,
absolutely something that there's no finish line. It's just a continuous process of evolution. So to even be able to speak to, you know, the mistakes of the past and the wisdom you have in this moment, like that's powerful because that's something that maybe that insight could help someone else not to make the same choices. I don't believe necessarily in mistakes, but we all make choices and decisions, and maybe you can make different choices by having that on board.
yeah,
So yes, and the harmony of relationship, like once you have children, the relationship doesn't end.
right,
It can definitely evolve into something beautiful if communication and healing and the work is being,
right,
done.
right,
But you never cease to be in relationship.
right,
And so the fact that you are still continuously working to develop that, and everybody, they're in their own, space as far as their own development. So I get how you're dealing with multiple beings here. But that the fact that you're putting the effort in, that you're doing the work, will definitely have the results in some way, shape, or form. So I truly, just appreciate your insight on that. And then just in reference to what were some highlights? Like if you could, if there's a highlight reel of just some of the things that when you think of brings a smile to your face, throughout this journey, with your children and with this experience of fatherhood.
um wow, there's a lot.
I'm sure.
um I had my son first. I got a boy and 3 girls.
Mhm.
um so just watching, like, again, I am so grateful. I say this with all humility. I am so grateful, from the village that I come from and the people that I was raised by, and the level of uh, respect, admiration, and um, just the sheer awe that I have for women,
Yeah.
particularly black women, is different. I know it's different
Mhm.
than what's common today.
Mhm.
Um, so seeing that woman that I was with transform because life was in her, everything to me, the journey was something that I really, really took in, and I'm watching this life changing thing happen,
Definitely.
and it's just like, yo, wow. Talking to her stomach and
Mhm.
literally watching my son roll over to the side where I'm at because I'm talking to him
Oh, yes.
was phenomenal. Um, her going through her cravings of food. You know what I'm saying? And I be sitting back laughing, cracking up. And then I'm looking and I'm like, man, look, your ankles look like 2-liter Coke bottles. Crack
Right.
joke, you know what I mean? I'm like, damn, you swelling up. You know what I mean? And just all of that. She had my son vaginally.
Mhm.
And that was just like, oh my God, I mean, the whole thing of that, I'm like, yo, that's coming out of there? Like, what the heck?
Were
So
you
that's a
able to
whole
be present in the room or
yes,
was okay, yes.
yes. No, absolutely. I wasn't gonna have it no other way. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? Nah, they wasn't gonna no. I'm right there. You push. Word. You know, then came my daughter and my son, you know, my son, as soon as he could walk, the first thing I did was put a shovel in his hand. As soon as he could stand up,
Oh.
you gonna work.
Oh.
You don't do nothing else. You gonna work. You know. And my and their mother's relationship was even rocky at that time. We ended up having a daughter, and she ended up having a C-section. And with the C-section, I'm sitting at the end of the table by her head,
Yeah.
and there's a mirror over her stomach, so I could see what the doctors are doing. So I'm sitting there, and she had my daughter in February. So I'm trying to tell her that the Cowboys just got knocked out the playoffs, and I was miserable. And she's cutting her eyes up at me like, "Yo, dude, I'm about to have a C-section. They about to cut me open." I didn't know what else to say. I started talking about the Cowboys.
Right.
I mean, I started talking about my boys. So, and I'm like, okay, 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 right. So I'm trying to talk to her, and I'm focused down here. And then I look up at the mirror and I just see the doctor like
Move her
scooping
away.
her stomach,
Yeah.
take out some stuff and drop it on the floor.
Oh.
I was like, I swear I almost went in. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I was really like, I stood up. They was like, what you doing? I was like, no, hold the hell up. What you just take out of her stomach and drop her on the floor? Like, what the fuck? I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah.
So what I didn't see was that they lined her stomach with gauze pads to soak up the
Ah.
blood. You know what I mean? It was just the gauze pads, and they were changing the gauze pads out because they, split her stomach and pulled
Yeah.
it back and took my daughter out. And me witnessing that is the closest that somebody could be to death without experiencing death.
Mm.
That's the reality.
Mhm.
And that's what we know childbirth is, and
Yeah.
that's a very sacred place for you to be able as a man to witness, because we can't do that.
Right.
Like, the reality,
Mhm.
only the woman. And again, man, I'm trying to tell these men, it also comes with allowing yourself to be able to be vulnerable, because people think as a man I can't be vulnerable. People think in general, people think vulnerability is a weakness
Weakness.
when it's actually a strength. When it's actually a strength, because in being vulnerable, you're being transparent and you're releasing some of these things that now can't nobody use against you.
Yes.
So me seeing that, I'm just in awe, man. That was like I'm witnessing a miracle, which it truly
It
is.
will. Yes.
With and then Yo, when I looked into my daughter's eyes,
Mm.
that was just just it. You know what I mean? I love my children equally.
Yeah.
But when I look into my daughter's plural, when I look into their eyes, it's I guess I guess again that man thing kicks in. I'm the protector. I gotta
Yeah.
protect this. We're living in a world that just takes advantage and advantage and advantage of every and anything, and
Yeah.
men get taken advantage of. So women are preyed on a lot more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just it's just my daughters, man, move me in a totally different way.
Yeah.
Totally different way. I remember one time I was my daughter, Kiwi, her name is Jazani Kiwi.
Mm,
My son
beautiful.
name is Raheem. And my daughter, Kiwi, she was hungry and I was supposed to be watching her. And I was laying in the bed on my back and I felt it hitting me. Eat, daddy, eat. And she's sitting right there by me. And I wasn't getting up, moving fast enough. And she went and got a cup of water that I kept on a nightstand and threw it straight in my face. Eat. She said, eat. So I sat up. I was like, hold up. She tried to drown me.
Oh,
They got
wow.
up and went and got her something to eat, man. The love of my life, The
Yes.
loves of my life, man. My daughter Wisdom,
Hmm.
she's special. That little girl, now, like literally, when I talk to her mother's stomach, it's my
Mm.
ex-wife Shaniqua. When I talk to her mother's stomach, like that girl did what I said when she was still in the womb.
Wow.
Like literally, if I told her, come here, I'm over here on this side, she'll come roll right over and she's on this side now. Shaniqua used to be like, yo, you doing that on purpose? I'll be like, watch, I'm gonna go to this side. And I just start talking to her, come here, Wiz, come here. And she would come right over to that side. And I'd be
Mm.
like, move for dad. And you
Mm.
see the whole stomach start rolling. And I'm like, okay, that's my baby. When she
Yeah.
came out, and that was an easy pregnancy. Not an easy pregnancy, that was an easy childbirth.
Okay, for her.
The pregnancy, her mother blew up too and was like, she look I'm just like,
It's
yo,
uncomfortable.
it was
Yeah.
just comfortable. But that pregnancy was like the doctor was telling her, I'm talking to her and she looking at me like, shut up. The doctor's telling her don't push. She was like, no, she's coming. 1, 2, 3, whoop, my baby was out. Yeah,
Yeah.
she just pushed her right out. My daughter wouldn't stop crying unless I was talking to her. Like literally. When I
Yeah.
stopped talking to her, she started screaming. When I came and talked to her, she was just
At
quiet.
peace.
Just take a
Yes.
bad piece show. So that was amazing. Um as she started getting older, before she could walk, the first time she stood up, literally she was sitting on the floor with her legs out in front of her, like her hands on her thighs,
Mm-hmm.
and just stood up to the stand up position. As God is my witness.
Wow.
I looked at her grandmother, her grandfather. I said, hold up. Tell me I'm not the only person that just
Right.
seen that. As God is my witness, man. So, it's just like thing after thing after thing.
Yes.
And you know that it's some things that I missed that I wish I could go back to.
Mm.
When they were that size, man. And just we really need to pay attention and know. And that's why the mother and the fathers, like I said, even if you're not together,
Yeah.
you have to be on the same page,
Yeah.
because our children need and deserve to grow up with real balance in their life.
Yeah.
And how we start them out in life dictates a lot of time their future,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
almost like how we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
We was raised with the veil pulled back.
Yeah.
We see this world for what it is because of the way we were raised. We
Yeah.
know the tricks of society and of the shaitan and how it's going to come at your children and come at you and your relationships
Yeah.
and all of these different things that, it's a lot of people that don't know it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of families that are like, they're broken, and I can see that they don't really understand why they're broken, that why they have that slave mentality. These
Or
gen-
the tools to get out. Yeah.
so yeah, I had a lot of fun with my kids, man. My kids were also my toys. You know, I had the only thing I couldn't do was take the battery out they back and put them
Right.
on the shelf. They run all the time, you know.
They
So
nonstop. Yeah.
it was,
But that is beautiful. And I definitely hear the love. And it sounds like, with each birth, you're falling in love all over again. Like, just how you express looking into your daughter's eyes. So that's like just powerful. And that's that connection and especially being present in the room during this
yes,
process and the appreciation for what, as the mother, being the vessel, the work and the energy and the sacredness and how transformational this experience of birth is. So I truly appreciate your insight, your experience. 30 minutes goes by so fast.
it does.
Yeah, there's so much more that can be discussed because, solutions are everything. And when you can
Yes,
have a conversation and really give takeaways where people can, begin to implement even something as simple as being present,
yeah,
or working at a relationship that might not be in the same form that it originally was.
yeah.
Like those are valuable tools and gems that you dropped on this conversation. So I truly appreciate you. But before you go, I definitely want people to know, some of the things that you're doing, how to get in touch with you. Yeah, whatever you
So
care to share.
nah, I appreciate that. So I'm the director of outreach for Ice the Beef, anti-gun violence organization in New Haven. It's about bringing our youth back to the original way of life, which is love, peace, and equality. Yeah, we truly are one human family. You could catch me at any hood near you. We got some phenomenal men and women that are working with Ice the Beef and trying to stop this violence. Yo, this is madness out in our world, and we need to learn how to heal with each other. So you could look up Ice the Beef on Facebook. You could hit me up on Facebook, Remidy Shareef. I haven't gotten to the Instagram and everything and all those things yet, but I'm thinking about doing it. I really hate social media, but it is a tool. If you use it right, it's a tool. And I'm also part of the New Haven Rising, which is the labor union here in New Haven. We just won the $52 million from Yale. That's going to come to the city of New Haven. We need people in our community to get involved with the labor movement
Yes,
so we could create better job opportunities. We could, it also helps stop the violence.
it
We
does.
could create better housing, just different things. No matter where you at, man, just get involved,
Mhm.
get activated. Get involved. I genuinely love my people. I love you, Queen. I appreciate what you doing. Like you are like phenomenal. You are definitely one of the queens that I salute, and I'm honored to just be able to sit with you and talk with you like this. I hope we could do it again on many different
Absolutely.
subjects because I'm seeing a whole vision of what you doing, and this right here is absolutely powerful. So I'm grateful that you chose me for this, and it's nothing but love.
Oh, I truly appreciate it. We go back. Like I think you've known me from the womb, like my mother's
Yes,
womb. Like you were
yes,
around
ma'am.
back then.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you are truly family, and I am honored to have you. And again, thank you for all of the insight and everything that you shared. Just a powerful brother. You are a part of my family and my community, and that to me speaks volume. We need representation. We need to see, what it looks like to continuously be doing the work. So thank you. And if you're all listening, I appreciate you all tuning in. If you found value in anything that was said tonight, please share, share, share. We can't have these conversations enough. And stay tuned because we want to continue to bring, positive, uplifting content to you all. So thank you, Remedy.
Much
Peace
love.
and love to the family. Peace and blessings, everyone, for tuning in.
Thank